What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling like Tesla today and a bunch of other companies. There's actually a lot moving today. A lot moving today. But you got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Cheryl, Chris, Corey, Daniel. Good morning to George, Georgia. We got Jay, Jeff, Marius, Martina. We got Tim in the house. Good morning to all my people out in YouTube land. We got Fitz. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But wild day, wild day, wild evening earnings report kicking off. Uh, 2 days ago or yesterday morning, we were coming in a little bit more gloomy. Some of those stocks missed, but we had to wait for the big ones to come in. We had to wait for some big ones and we got them. So, SPY is gapping up, making up most of the losses that we put in yesterday. Almost back to the opening price of yesterday, which is good. I think we had a pretty good call throughout the day yesterday in terms of how the market was moving. I think we had a pretty fairly good read on it. Although we did try to short Starbucks and McDonald's, and none of them wanted to cooperate. But we made some back on a Tesla day trade. We'll take a look at all of those again, but for the most part, yeah, we're almost right back to where we opened. We came down, we did retest a good kind of level of support. We closed back above that 20 EMA. So the only thing I don't like is obviously we still have this VPOC a little bit lower. We're gonna have to continue to move higher, but we're starting to get there. Resistance, I would think, comes in today. Number one, we probably have to look at, I would say, the opening price from yesterday. We might get stalled there a little bit. There's also a VPOC right around that zone as well, somewhere around 581.47. And then we got 582.46 would be the next spot. If we go a little bit crazy today, 583.30. So I think we have a little bit more room to the upside. It's going to be a slight bit of a challenge to get through some of those levels, but I think it's doable, especially if we are trapping. So we had some decent volume that came in yesterday too. To the downside, look for our first support at 579.64. If we want to give a lot of it back, we're going to probably look to retest this 577.53. So we do have a little bit more room to the downside. It's a little bit of an easier path to the downside, but I think we're trapping some bears that loaded up yesterday. So I would be probably looking to buy dips if we get pullbacks today. Qs. The Qs we got same thing. Looks almost identical to the SPY. Also had some decent volume that came in yesterday. We're well past the 50% and 618 of this one. Look for big support again. This is still inside day, although we are trapping some bears. Resistance on this one, 492.29. So slightly higher, probably break out of the high of yesterday. And then if we go a little crazy, we're looking for probably about 496.28 to the downside. We are opening right above a key support, so we don't have to drop too much. We got 492.31. If we do break down that zone, I look for a retest of 490.93, and an absolutely wild and probably disappointing day for bulls is if we come back to retest this 487.87. But that would be my low of the day if we get down there. I don't know that we do. I think some of the support holds us, and I think enough bears just got trapped from yesterday to want to scramble to reverse some of those positions, cut some of the losses. Tessie. Tessie's the first one we see on the list. Tessie. Um, I'm in it. I know some of you guys are in it with me. I did mess up. I'll tell you how I messed up too. But uh good earnings. Really good earnings. We were making the case. We were talking, and we kind of did like a little napkin talk of just kind of jotting down some risk reward ideas. And I ended up going with some calls on Tessie. We took the 225s, expires in December. We kind of talked through the theta. I like the play. I like the play. And I think it made a lot of sense because there was a lot of outs where we wouldn't really lose too much money if it didn't work out. We looked at the previous earnings; they were all. We even said, like, from where the Wall Street, like, everybody was bearish on Tesla yesterday. Everybody was bearish. The Wall Street was expecting pretty much they just had to come in line with what they did last year. No, Georgie says I wasn't. No, because you're smart. That's why. Wall Street's a bunch of dummies. They just hit buttons and then they're like, yeah, we made money somehow. But to the downside, the risk wasn't that bad. Like even if this report came in, which wasn't a high bar, and then you had the layup of like even if they miss, and then Elon comes out and starts talking his robo taxis, clarifies that could give us like a second boost, and then maybe, maybe we get back to break even. I did sell some puts as well, so I ended up selling the 190s. Those probably should be worthless today, so I should be able to have a good gain on those. Where I did mess up is I was like, you know, I like it to the upside. I like the risk reward, but I was trying to figure out how to make a little extra just in case it comes down. So I sold the 260s on the same. I sold the 260 strike calls. So I'm hedged on it. I'm a little capped on gains. That being said, I don't know where those things are going to open because they still had the option premium in them. I was getting like $220 for selling 260s. And I was like, yeah, I'll take. I mean, if we could get it all the way to 260, that's crazy. That's wild. But now, obviously, so we're not there yet. So maybe those kind of fade a little bit, and I could buy them for break even or cheaper. Otherwise, now we're sitting at a point on Tesla where we do have, and I think Tony also pointed this out too. But now we have this island reversal. We have one green day in there, but we have one, two, three, I think 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have about 9 days of just consolidation. Not only are we breaking out consolidation from here, but you have the robo taxi event that came here. Some people started shorting. All of those people starting to lose. Um, I don't know how quick I'd want to be to sell those calls out. I think especially if you have some time on it, if you're Friday or if you did take next week, you're still probably paying some premium on those. So maybe those might be worth just kind of flipping. If you got some time, I think it's probably worth holding. That being said, you are opening right into a pretty big resistance somewhere around this 244. So I don't know if I get too aggressive if you're not already in it. The next stop on Tesla looked for like 248. I think that would be a big level. But I think undoubtedly, if you have no positions on Tesla, I think with that report, and they got like $3.3 billion in cash just sitting around, they're putting out what was it, 2 to 4 million robo taxis he's predicting starting next year. The top three EV cars sold right now are all three Teslas. I think Cybertruck was the third on the list. It's a bad day for Rivian, I think. I think today's a bad day for Rivian and almost every other EV company. So we'll see. I don't know if I want to get. I already have positions. I don't know how aggressive I'm going to get on Tesla here. Maybe if this thing pulls back, there's probably buy the dip opportunities. That's where I would look to play it. I don't want to short Tesla today. There's so many bears being trapped on this thing that as this thing comes down, they're probably going to try to scramble. Even bears are like, yeah, Tesla's probably bullish. I guess. Andy says, how much a pullback could it get? Yeah, I wish I knew. The support on this one is 241.08. That's going to be a big level. I don't know. I don't know. The biggest level on this thing, where there's probably a ton of bulls if you get it, is probably 239.56. If you break through that, then you're probably looking for some kind of entry closer to 231. But I think that's going to be a really, really good support, at least for today. Not only for today, but probably for a while. So I'm not expecting too much of a pullback, but you do have almost a little hammer-ish candle from Robo Taxi event day. I think coming back to retest that would be pretty decent. The only other problem is I think we did that in pre-market too. So here we got the break. Where we're trying to get to 241. So we got up there once, we rejected, now we broke through. Yeah, I would think somewhere around this 239 is probably a decent spot. Mike says, guess I shouldn't have bought back my 210 put yesterday for November. Oh, you bought it back yesterday. Oh yeah, no, you would have been. Yeah, you would have made all of that money without it. But now it's hindsight. It's hindsight. It's easier. It's easier. Rivian has had a good day. Yeah, when they IPO'd, and then probably about 5 or 6 days after their IPO, they're actually gapping up a little bit today. So I don't know, Rivian feeling a little bit of love. I think for the case that people are buying EVs, I guess. I don't know, but that's an interesting gap on Rivian. I don't really see how that. Well, yeah, this is actually why they're gapping. I don't. Maybe there's news outside of what I'm about, but one, you have a little bit of resistance. We'll see if they could clear some of those levels. Other than that, you have earnings right here coming out. So you have November 7th. So 3 weeks, something like that, 2 weeks. So you got earnings coming out, and I think anybody sitting in the EV world or investment world is going, well, Rivian is pretty beat up. If people are buying EV cars, maybe Rivian's sold one. I don't know how that I don't know how it's going to play out for Rivian because again, the top three EVs being sold right now are all Tesla, and then every time Rivian sells a car, they lose like I think it's $18,000 or something like that. So as if you're a shareholder, you kind of don't want them to sell cars. Just leave it on the lot, get some better numbers. So we'll see. We'll see. The other play that I do have, and I picked it up toward the very end of the day yesterday, and that one's working for me too. And this was just a last minute kind of decision. The chart looks a little bit like I'm gonna probably sell these out of the gate, but I have some calls. There was like a smaller delivery company that reported that kind of released earnings toward the end of the day yesterday. They started running up. So I was like, maybe I could go with UPS if that industry is moving. The same thing. I think the thought process for people buying Rivian today is like, yeah, maybe the bigger guy would do it, except it's kind of reverse. So those are up. I'm gonna probably get out of these ones today. I think this one probably ends up shorting for UPS, but that's a really good move. You have a lot of resistance up until like 147, but I'm probably gonna close these for me, take whatever gains I get, and close those out. Tesla, I'll probably leave open. I think I'm gonna leave that open. I'm gonna see if I can get out of that cover that I put on the Tessie up at 260. I don't really want to cap my gains on it now. All right, let's see what else we got. Nvidia. Nvidia. So yeah, the other thing too that Elon said is he's looking to increase, I think, production by like 20-30%. That's going to be great news for Nvidia and anything related to chips. So I think you're getting because they're Tesla's still buying Nvidia chips. So I was like, Nvidia probably sees a little sympathy, and sure enough, they are gapping up a little bit. So I think that helps. Their earning report comes out November 20th. So we still have some time on that one, but look where this one opens. You're still inside day on this one. Look where this one opens. If we're above, I think about 141.11, I can make a case that is gap and go. Maybe targets 143.50, but I would look at the open from yesterday too. So 142.11. If we open underneath it, let's see if you get a little pullback. Look for a really good level is like 139.58. So I don't know if Nvidia is going to have a crazy reaction. I don't think I would take the short. I think I would wait for it to drop, see if you get it a little bit lower to buy the dip. But that is good news for Nvidia too, with Elon coming out with his conference call yesterday. So SMCI, and I think we have a lot of the chips running. The other one is AMD too. I saw pushing a little bit. So I'm in a swing trade on SMCI, but again, we're kind of opening into resistance. We're at the very high end of yesterday. This one has been, again, as soon as we started to really break this $47 level, I don't think I like it as much, but it doesn't mean it's dead. We do have earnings. I'm probably going to hold a swing through earnings, I would think, because again, we're down based off of the accounting news, but that might not affect the earnings. So you still might get that pop on earnings, and then maybe they could clarify something. Maybe I'll do some kind of option play through earnings on SMCI too. But it's another one. It's low. You're down for different reasons. You're down for suspicious accounting, I guess is the best way to put it. But this is another one that has a decent amount of room. I don't know how high this would go on a really solid beat of earnings. I would think you could have room to like $62, and in a really wild case, you could make it to like 71. So it's got a bunch of upside to it. Where I'll probably at least hold my swing through it just in case, and then maybe have some options or sell some puts or something like that for SMCI coming out. When's that? That's Tuesday, I believe, right? Yep. So that's Tuesday, which I still don't know before or after the bell, but I would assume after the bell. For a day trade purpose, I'm not going to get too aggressive out of the gate. Again, this is another one where I don't think I'd want to short it, but I think if you could get it as close as possible to like this $45 mark, that would be your best shot if you like it long. If you hate SMCI and you're looking for levels closer to like 4160, then right at open would be your spot to attempt a short. I think you do get that pullback, and the question is, do you get follow through on that one? Let's see what else we got. Baba. Yeah, Baba being a turd today. That one's gapping down. That one's gapping down, but it's a retest gap, and I was looking for this $96 range for a while. I was like, I think that's the zone we get into. So we're approaching, and I think pre-market we were slightly lower. Yeah, 96.43. Where is this? 96.30. See if this one wants to pull back a little bit more. I would like to see. I would be okay with a high wave candle. I think playing this retest, you're starting to get into that zone where I think we get that bounce for a longer term move. I'm not taking any options. I still have shares, and I'm in it if we could get the bounce. But a little bit further down would be 95.60. That's the spot I really want to hold on this one. So we're starting to get to the area where I think we potentially could get some kind of a bounce, and maybe that's in terms of news or something from China. They have to throw out some kind of stimulus or some kind of positive news, and then all Chinese stocks go crazy again. But this is a retest gap. You are gapping down. We're just gapping into that zone. So somewhere around here, not quite at this price, but if we come a little bit lower, I think I would be looking to go bullish. I think we got good risk to reward to a bull side on it. LMT. Larkins in the house. Joe Mo Arrays wants hymns. All right, we'll take a look at that next. We got Lockheed Martin. Um, Palantir had news after hours too. I don't think it was a partnership with Lockheed, but Palantir had it was another war defensive company. I don't think it was Lockheed though. We'll have to check. But Palantir was moving a little bit off that. Otherwise, Lockheed's getting kind of beat up off of decent earnings. So they beat on earnings per share. They missed by 248 million on the revenue side. It's very tough to have revenue misses and earnings per share. Well, they beat on earnings per share, but when you're at all-time highs. So I think there will be a buy opportunity eventually for this one. We are opening into a little bit of support here. We've had quite the 2 days down on the stock. For me, if I was to look long term, it would have to be much lower. I'd want to see at least a minimum pullback to like 546, but I would need this thing to kind of nosedive a lot. That being said, for day trade, I want this thing to probably drop a little bit lower. Right now, it looks like we're gapping up 10 cents, so nothing crazy on that one. Look for some kind of, I think, a better spot to go short if you like the continuation. You're looking to get in somewhere around closer to 572.77. I think targets on this one is closer to 564.37. And again, we don't really have any positive news or I guess not positive news in terms of war coming out today that we've had overnight. So nothing too crazy, but I think this one probably comes down. Much better support on this one, 564.37. You most likely have the chance to play the continuation into that to the short side. Let's see. We got BA. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, and then I forgot hymns. Um, More bad news for Boeing. They had some news coming out about their strikes again. I think there was no improved developments. There's not a single positive headline that I've seen in 3 months on Boeing, besides that they're not bankrupt, I guess. But even with that said, they're trying to raise more money, so who knows? But yeah, Boeing, another bad headline. You do have a little support where we're at now. If I think 152.23 breaks, you're probably heading back down to 149.09 or 149.01. Other than that, the trend is your friend on this one. Again, they just cannot get any headline that comes out is just bad. Probably if you could break down this little pivot, your next spot is going to be into this 130 zone, so you still have some room to the downside. Um, are we a little? We're definitely oversold on most time frames. You have earnings on this one coming out as well. We got some time on this one, January 29th. So yeah, we just had earnings, which was a miss on earnings per share. They did beat on revenue. That's cool, I guess. Market doesn't think so. But yeah, this is it's in one of those stages where I think it does come lower. The trend is lower. It's I think getting a little tricky to short down here just because it is massively down. It's had no love at all, and I don't think it gets love yet until you get some kind of announcement that maybe the strike is over. That's going to be your positive catalyst on that. All right, let's take a look at HIMS, HIMS, LRCX as well. HIMS is chilling for now. That's definitely a bearish engulfing candle. You have some earnings coming out on this one November 4th. I think this one probably looks weak. I think this one continues to pull back. If you're trying to short this one, you have a little gap up. Watch the open on this one. See where this one opens. Right now, I wouldn't go short immediately. You do have some resistance closer to 2173. This is a quite the down move. So slight gap and go. I think if you could get past this 2177, you have probably a retracement about 50%, 618 of that previous candle of this big bearish engulfing candle. The closer you get to like 2261, okay, that'd be my target. I think extended target for today. Otherwise, it doesn't look too crazy. I would be concerned about this, but as long as and if here's my bull case again, it doesn't look great. I think I would like it lower, probably like $20.46 or full on retest to 1954. I don't think we get there. But to make a bull case on this one, if you're bullish or you're trying to get in bullish, see if it pulls back a little bit, gives you a tiny little high wave out of the gate, and then my stop would be underneath this candle. So you're looking for some kind of like mini bounce, and then you have good risk reward if it doesn't break down here. Fantastic. That might be closer to a 618 pullback ish, and maybe you could kind of bang on out. This was a very good gap on it, but I don't like to see that big old bearish engulfing candle. LRCX. Let's see what that one's got. There's a gap up. Yeah, definitely off the lows. Um, right into a higher volume zone. I I think this one retraces a little bit, not a huge pullback. But I think at open, this is also a retest gap. I think you get a little pullback on this one. It might only be down to like 76.19. I think if you get a little bit further, you're looking for like a 75.62. I don't know if we get down there. You do have the 20 EMA coming in. If you start to break a little bit higher though, so I think if we start breaking the 77.19, your next stop is into like 79.75. This might also be a decent location for a fib too. Let's see. Fibonacci. Uh, we're opening. We're already below the 618. I think really good resistance on this one. So let's say it does go bullish. All my targets would probably be at $79 for today. If you get a bigger move, but I think you have to get a lot on that one. I think it might lean a little bit more to the chop side. I think it's gonna be a little more choppy. Choppy to the bear side. I think this one probably fades. I think it gives back some. Let's see. HON. Is that Honeywell? Honeywell. Mm, that one's pulling back. Is that good earnings? They did beat 7 cents earnings per share. They missed by 177 on the revenue side of things. Uh, Not crazy earnings. Look for support somewhere around 212.99. That was a good breakout we had previously on it, so that's not bad. I think you have some bulls kind of sitting at 212. We'll call it 213, somewhere in that zone. SoFi is on the move. Yeah, I saw that too, popping pre-market. That one looks interesting. I don't have that. I'm in this one with calls with the long term. I know a bunch of you guys are with me on that one too, but I don't really have too much in terms of resistance up here. Um, I think Biden came out the other day and extended some of the student loan repayments for another 6 months. So a lot of people don't have to repay those back for another 6 months. Just kick it down the road. Just kick it down the road until eventually there's a policy where you just don't ever have to pay. But that's a good gap up on this one. Again, there's not a lot. The only thing is with this move, let's see if we can find any other zone for some type of resistance. The next resistance isn't really until $11.35. Earnings are around the corner. I think it's Tuesday as well. Let me see. Yep, Tuesday the 29th in the morning. So pre-market or pre-earnings run up into this one. $11.35 would be my target on this one. This was also one of those ones that has been running, and now you have a gap up. You might have some people trying to take profits out of the gate. So I wouldn't start spending the money quite yet, but it is a good gap. I think this one probably has the ability to pull down to like 10.55 again. Get back into that range, but still very high short float on it. Definitely a retail loved stock. And then you got earnings right around the corner. So um you have a little bit of room on a $10 stock to get up to $11.35. Is not horrible. But I don't really my stop on this one's probably realistically $10.16. So I would want this one to pull back a little bit. I'm hoping we don't get it because I'm in it, but most likely I think this one probably fades. And then you got the solid $11 number right above you too. Georgia says, statistically speaking, Q3 is always the strongest quarter according to the financial statements. And my entire career as financial statements. Yeah, that would make sense. Q3, and then you get the ramp up into the holiday season. But that is the morning bell. So everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you have not done so already. If you have done it, do it again. I don't care. Just live YOLO. That's it. Otherwise, you guys are awesome, and I'll catch you guys later. Later, guys.